Ladies and gentlemen, this is the operator. Today's call is scheduled to begin momentarily. Until that time, your lines will again be placed on music hold. Thank you for your patience. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the operator. Today's call will begin in approximately 2 minutes. Your lines will be placed on hold until that time. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Amanda, and I'll be your conference operator today. At this time, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Democratic National Committee post-election call with Interim Chair Donna Brazile and President Barack Obama. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. If you should need assistance during this call, please press star then 0, and an operator will come back online to assist you. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to turn the call over to the Interim Chair, Donna Brazile. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, and I want to thank everybody for taking time out today to join us on this call. Later, you will hear from President Barack Obama. As many of you might have seen, the President just a few minutes ago, he held another press conference. President Obama has displayed grace under pressure, steady leadership, resiliency. We're proud of his service as Democrats and grateful to the service of the entire Obama administration, Vice President Biden, the First Lady, Michelle Obama, and, of course, Dr. Jill Biden, the Obama cabinet staff, and all of the officials who have served us over the last 8 years. Today's call is to talk to you about not just the election that is past us. 1 week ago, the American people spoke. We Democrats worked our hearts out, but we fell short. We are going to spend time finishing up the work that we started. We still have votes to count. We have recounts in certain places. We have runoff races. We have to continue to reach out to our staff, our volunteers, our donors, our stakeholders, to thank them for all that they did. We left it on the field, and we have much work to do over the following the weeks and months ahead. As many of you know, we are going to have the election for new officers of the Democratic National Committee. We will put out the procedures as well as the rules that will apply to the election of new officers. I will also make an announcement as to the location of the meeting, and with the help and support of staff at the Democratic National Committee, we will post this online so that all of you are aware of the process moving forward. And I thank you for your patience. Clearly, we plan to win. We were planning on victory. We were planning to be celebrating at this moment, but instead we fell short. And I want to thank you for your patience as we put this information out to the party and to all of our friends and stakeholders. But today it's about President Obama. He wants to talk to us. He's done a fantastic job. He's pulled us back from another great recession and created over 15 million jobs, including the longest consecutive job growth streak in history. Wages are now going up at the fastest pace in decades, and he rescued the auto industry, saving around 1 million jobs. Wall Street reform to rein in banks and prevent any more bailouts. And, of course, he made sure that we had a global climate deal, more than double clean energy, and made America a clean energy industry leader for generations ahead. More than 20 million of our fellow citizens have health coverage, the lowest uninsured rate in history. He eliminated discrimination based on pre-existing conditions, closed loopholes, and he's done so much to extend the Medicare trust fund more than a decade whole, closing the what I believe the Donna hole. Kids can stay on their parents' plan till 26, and of course, this president has commuted more sentences for low-level drug offenders than all previous presidents combined. He's drastically reduced disparity between crack and powder cocaine. He's put together a policing task force to recommend best practices for all police departments in dealing with minority communities. He founded My Brother's Keeper, and he has been a fabulous president.
And I'm on the phone.
Mr. President, I was trying to tell the world how much we love you and how much you've done for all of us. And I have with me Josh Shapiro, who just won a fantastic race in Pennsylvania. And I want to turn it over to Josh to give you a proper introduction. I was just reminding the American people all that you have accomplished, all that we have accomplished under your extraordinary leadership. And I just want to turn it over to Josh to formally introduce you, and I'll say goodbye to my friends afterwards. Thank you, Mr. President. Josh?
Thank you.
Thank you, Donna, and thank you, Mr. President. And I'll get right to it. In the President's second inaugural address, he said, we must act knowing that our work will be imperfect. We must act knowing that today's victories will only be partial, and that will be up to those who stand here in 4 years and 40 years and 400 years hence to advance the timeless spirit once conferred to us in a spare Philadelphia hall. Well, I speak to you today as the Attorney General-elect of Pennsylvania here in Philadelphia, just blocks from that hall, and I want to offer a little bit of solace. Secretary Clinton won the popular vote. But you should also know that even in this battleground state where we lost the big race here in Pennsylvania, folks voted for an attorney general who will protect people's rights, defend working people against a rip-off economy, and secure the gains we've made under President Obama. And that message won more votes than any other on the ballot. In other words, this progressive voice in a competitive race in what ended up being a red state still won. I want to say to those of you on this call that you have a voice, and it makes a difference, and it will be heard, and I encourage you to use it and run for office and not to let our future be shaped by others, that we all must do our part. I am keenly aware of the anxiety that many Americans feel right now, and I'm determined to be a champion for Pennsylvanians. And as the incoming chief law enforcement officer here in the Commonwealth, I will do my part to protect people's rights, stand up for the values that make our country strong, and bring fairness to our justice system. But now it's up to you to do the same for your constituents, your members in your labor hall, the people who rely on your advocacy, and as the President would want us to, your communities that have yet to be organized. You see, if we hear the President's words and each do our part to strengthen our union, in our own ways, in our own communities, at a grassroots level, our reach, our power, and our effect will be endless. And so perhaps the lesson that we must draw from Tuesday is that we can't rely on others to do this work for us. We must be the change and do our part. Scripture teaches us that no one is required to complete the task, but neither are we free to refrain from it. This president has laid the groundwork. He has accomplished so much, and his vision continues to be a North Star for many of us. I know I will be guided by it, and generations of public servants will be too. We understood when the president came on the scene, and we need to remember now that we are required for change to happen. We knew it would take us, our work, our efforts, our voices. It wouldn't be just done by elected leaders. It would fall to each of us. And the leader of that effort, who has shown us time and time again the strength of the American people, a people he will always bet on and never bet against, is our President, Barack Obama. And it is my huge honor to introduce him at this time to this important group at this momentous moment to say a few words to all of us. Mr. President, the line is yours. Thank you for this honor.
Josh, thank you for the amazing introduction. And thanks, Donna, for your wonderful work. Thanks of all of you for hopping on the phone. Look, first of all, I just want to say thank you. The incredible support you've shown me over the years has allowed me to do the good that we have done. And it is indisputable that the country is better off today than it was 8 years ago. I ticked off some of the reasons for that during the press conference that I had right before I got on the line here. And it's pretty hard to argue with. And, in fact, the American people, based on their assessments of our performance right now, tend to agree. And, you know, I always tell my team that our job when we are entrusted with this amazing office at the pinnacle of our democracy is to make sure that the country is better off than it was when we started. And having done that, we have run our stage of the race. And it has been a singular honor, but more importantly, it's helped millions of people in this country and probably billions around the world, what we've done. And that was all based on the work that you guys do all across this country at the state and local and grassroots levels, delegates, members, donors. I couldn't have done it without you, and for that I will always be grateful. Now, I know that you put that same kind of effort into this cycle, and you know, I want to publicly say how proud I am of Hillary Clinton on a history-making race. We did not get the results we wanted, but we took a step in shattering a barrier that's still there. And little girls and little boys are going to have a different sense of the possible thanks to her nomination and her candidacy. That doesn't mean we don't hurt for what was a unexpected loss. And, you know, expected losses are hard enough. Unexpected ones are just worse. And that's okay. I was telling my team, you're allowed to mope for a week and a half, maybe 2 if you really need it. But after that, we got to brush ourselves off and get back to work. We got to come together and focus on a way ahead. And it's important that we do that in a way that's consistent with who we are as Democrats. It means that we're listening to each other, we're reflecting, we're asking tough questions, we're respectful of different points of view, we're basing our decisions on facts and careful analysis, and we're taking the long view, and we're strategizing. And in the months ahead, my hope is that we're convening Democrats at every level, from the DNC to local ward and town committees, to assess where we've fallen short and how we can build for elections, not just in presidential years, but every year. Because I've been on this for a while, you know, and I said this in my press conference. We have better ideas, but they have to be heard for us to actually translate those ideas into votes and ultimately into action. And the challenge we have is that partly because of geographic distribution, there are big chunks of the country that just aren't hearing us. And they won't hear us if we're not showing up and if we're not there fighting day in, day out for those ideas. And that is not something that you can just do every 4 years. It's something that you got to do over a lengthy period of time, building trust, building relationships, making sure that people understand what we're about, focusing on down ballot, recruiting, training candidates, reaching out to every community, whether they agree or disagree, because even in communities that are rock-solid Republican, there's a difference between us losing 60-40 or losing 80-20, and that can swing an election. We got to train new voters. We got to train volunteers. All that work has to be done. And look, one of the challenges that I've discovered being president is I'd like to be organizer-in-chief, but it's hard. You got Syria and you got NATO and you have summit meetings and, economic issues that you have to deal with on an ongoing basis. You try to get legislation done. That's why the DNC is so important. That's why our local state parties are so important. And although we haven't been able to do as much as I would like in order to assure that we got the results we did in this election, I'm absolutely confident that it can be done. We just got to be a little more strategic, and we got to work a little bit harder. And for the next 2 months, my main job is to make sure we finish up strong, so that when I turn over the keys, I can continue to say unequivocally and demonstrably that the country's better off than when I found it. Part of that is also facilitating a decent transition so that the American people are as well served as they can be with the incoming administration. But then I'm going to be a private citizen, and I'm not going to stop as citizen working on behalf of the things that I care about. And I'm hoping that I'm going to have the opportunity to work with a whole bunch of you in all kinds of different ways. And now's not the time for me to spell out how that might happen, but I'm sure that we are going to be working shoulder to shoulder for many, many years to come. Just a couple of final thank yous. Again, Hillary Clinton did unbelievable work. So did Bernie Sanders. My two partners here, Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi, I could not have better partners than them in everything that we've accomplished. I want you to know, because I've been reading a lot of these reports, this notion that somehow all the work we did suddenly gets stripped away. Let me tell you something. We got more done than any administration in the last who knows how many decades. And if they roll back 15 or 20% of that, we're still 80% ahead. And that's not going to be as easy as I think some people feel, particularly if we continue to make the case and mobilize. I just, in my press conference, talked about the fact that, suddenly everybody's going to realize that 20 million people with health insurance that didn't have it before, and protection against discrimination for pre-existing conditions and discounts for seniors and all this stuff, when you poll these things individually, people like them, and they don't want them taken away. And we're going to be in a position to make the case that, the work we've done is good, and a lot of it needs to be preserved. And if it can be proved upon, then we should be open-minded to improving it. The bottom line is that, I don't know about y'all, but I'm still fired up and I'm still ready to go. Admittedly, I will take a vacation for a couple weeks after my presidency is over. But then we're going to get back to work. And for any of you who doubt, by the way, how quickly things can change and how fast the clouds can part, you remember that speech I gave in Boston? It was a pretty good speech, and I ended up winning the U.S. Senate race, an unknown state senator up until that point. And when I arrived in Washington in 2005, I was sworn in, and everybody was really happy, and I was really proud. that was also the same time where John Kerry had lost a really close election. Tom Daschle had lost his seat and was no longer leader in the Senate. I think Ken Salazar and I were the only two Democrats across the country that had won. Republicans controlled the Senate and the House and the presidency. Things were looking pretty bleak. 2 years later, Democrats were taking over Congress, and 4 years later, I was president of the United States. So I've seen it. And the reason that happens is because of all of you. And that's why I'm proud of you, and that's why I'm proud to be a Democrat. Let's learn our lessons, lick our wounds, brush ourselves off, then we'll get back to work. All right? Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. President. Travel safely.
Will do.
All right. As the President said, we are going to finish strong. We're going to finish strong. We have so much to do over the next 2 months. Josh, I want to thank you for your tremendous leadership and want to congratulate you once again. I know you have a lot of work ahead, but your service to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, thank you so much, and I hope you're with us as we begin our work and focusing on the future. So thank you for your great leadership as well.
Thank you. You can count on it.
Well, pursuant to the party's charter and bylaws, the next slate of officers will be elected at the winter DNC meeting held prior to March 1st, 2017. Also, per the party's rules, and prior to that meeting, there will be procedures in place to govern how the elections is conducted. The Rules and Bylaws Committee will meet December 1st through 3rd, along with the Association of Democratic State Chairs in Denver, Colorado. We will be putting out those rules, and everyone will be able to access it on our website. In accordance with the practice of past elections, these rules and information about the process will be made available to the press and to the public. I just want to say on behalf of the officers, I was unable to get them in the queue. I want to thank all of you once again for your service. I look forward to working with you. I look forward to working with the Unity Commission, which was approved at our convention, and I look forward to focusing on how we win elections in the future. So with that, Operator, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to hearing from you all in the future. Thank you.
That does conclude today's call. You may now disconnect.